There is an endless sea of podcasts about entrepreneurship. Talking about it, but not living it. We live it every day. This is Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle, talking about real estate investing, but also encompassing general subjects in regards to owning small to medium-sized businesses, and of course, all the struggles that business owners must overcome to be successful. This is Inside the Wolf's Den, and this is Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Shawn Wolfswinkle. I'm accompanying my beautiful bride, Joni Wolfswinkle.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back.
And, of course, we got Brett Moses in the house making this all happen. So, well, it's been, feels like it's been a while since we've been here, but it's only been a week.
Last week.
Yeah, but it seems like that last week was a long week, it feels like. But we did get to take some time this weekend and get a little R&R and get away and get out of the house, which is a big one.
Yeah. Call it our thinking time this past week. Kids were, having a blast, water slides and the pool, and you and I had time to just kind of decompress a little bit and really plan out some stuff. So
today we're going to talk about financials within a marriage or a relationship. So it's going to be one of the connected relationship series podcast, and we're going to talk about probably a topic that people try to avoid or don't bring up much.
Yeah, uncomfortable conversations come up when you're talking about finances.
So we might have some uncomfortable conversations here, so we'll find out. But I know we did find out about an uncomfortable encounter this weekend while we were hanging out at the resort, and one of the nights we went out to dinner, and it was like one of the nicer steakouts they had at that resort. So it was nice. It was we were put on the patio. I don't understand this, but they're supposed to be practicing social distancing, and for whatever reason, they decided to put us like almost right next to another family.
And we're like the only two families out in the patio with this huge patio.
Yeah, and then they put us right next to each other. But whatever. But the throughout the night, as it went on and towards the end of the night, the couple really started arguing, and to me a little bit embarrassed because they were loud. Like we could overhear everything, and Joni and I like to people watch and listen to conversations.
We can't be the only couple that does that, though. We love to people watch and overhear conversations.
So they were enjoying some wine and listening to this argument. And you could tell that it was, he owned some kind of practice. Either I don't know if it was a medical or dentistry kind of practice. And she must have been involved somehow in the practice. And they were, I guess, spending out of control. And they were talking about how, they were on the verge of going bankrupt in their practice, and they needed to get the spending under control and start going through every little credit card statement in detail and figuring out where all the money's going and why are they spending out of control, and to the point where they were worried about making it. And so it was like a very uncomfortable situation, and I couldn't believe they were saying everything so loud, but it got us to thinking, and we got us to as we were sitting by the pool, we're like, well, that actually is a great conversation to talk about.
Yeah. So. Well, and to add to the story, and our kids could sense that they were fighting as well. And their kids thought they're like, wait, mom and dad are like getting divorced or something. But it's funny because 2 weeks prior, Shawn and I were at a restaurant as well. And I don't know how we end up in these situations, but another couple was fighting about finances, and we ended up having to walk with them out the door. And the wife and the husband were fighting, and she threw her doggy bag, her leftover bag, and almost hit him. Yeah. And I had to duck to miss it. Anyway, the husband turns to us and was like, that's what you call 2 margaritas. Yeah. So my daughter was with us, my 6-year-old was with us. And so this past weekend, when she heard this couple fighting, she's like, that's what you call 2 margaritas.
So, yeah, that's the whenever somebody's arguing or the woman's getting loud, that's our
Dumb.
that's our little motto is it's 2 margaritas. So anyways, that was a total side note. But we wanted to get into talking about, financials and finances, working with your spouse or a partnership, within a business. And then also we'll get into personal, how we handle stuff, kind of what we've learned over the last, 17 years of being married, but also the last 20 years of being in business together, and kind of some of the either lessons we've learned or mistakes we've made. And so we kind of want to share with some of those with you. So, as it relates to, kind of this couple and kind of, how Joni and I have just handled our business and finances, over the years is, we really communicate everything together. And I don't, I don't know if that's, I think that's a little rare at times, because I know not all couples do that, or partnerships, because really a partnership's like a marriage, or it's that deep. And so you and I have always just shared and gone through everything, and full disclosure, everything's on the book. Now there's times where I have, and I've learned from this, because as a man, I was always thinking, because in our relationship, both personally and in business, I usually handle the finances. Numbers come easier to me. I like numbers. I can calculate stuff quicker, and I enjoy that. Not to say that you're not sorry.
That's okay.
that wasn't
What are you
a
trying to
dagger.
say, Shawn?
Yeah, but I like finances. Went to school for mechanical engineering. I get numbers, and so. Since I handle a lot of the finances and being the man of the house, I always felt like it was like I took on that responsibility. I'll handle it, not that I would ever put you in a harm, but that I wouldn't, there was times when I felt like I had it under control.
Right.
I didn't need to burden with you, even though there was maybe a stress on me or wearing on me, but I didn't want to burden it. And you would always see it in me, but, it was a mistake that I should have just came and talked to you about it up front.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of couples go through this because, like you said, as a man, you want to feel like you have it under control. I mean, most of the time you do, I'm speaking for myself. And I think, and you don't want me to worry. So I think a lot of men also, they don't want their spouses to worry about the finances, because they may, be dealing with the kids or have a lot of other things on their mind. And, but for us, like I could sense that. I could sense that you were quiet and you bottled things up. And so in early on in our relationship, I flat out told you like, hey, like, I want you to communicate with me. I don't care what it is, good, bad, or ugly. I want you to communicate those finances to me, because at the end of the day, we're in this together, right? And so, if we're struggling together, and I don't want it just to be you.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's I think it's sometimes hard, my perspective to sometimes, I didn't want to burden her with that. So I would just, take on that burden. But what I really found out over the years is that when you still have to approach it, because the way I might disclose something to her, or like, hey, we're, cash flow is an issue right now, and I would have to go over an issue, that time with you. I would have to still present it in a time that was, not when you're in the middle of something and all that. That's not like, I would have to present it at a time, but not wait too long, but present it when you're ready to hear it, to let you know, hey, can we meet tomorrow morning? I need to go over a couple of things with you. And then we schedule that time, and I fully disclose. And then the result that I found is that, hey, you usually had the answer, and you usually had very good solutions, or you just give me the reassurance that, hey, yeah, what you decided to do is, I think, the best solution for that, and it was good that I always disclosed.
Yeah. And it's good that you prepped me for that as well, because, I had to be prepared for those uncomfortable conversations, and with zero emotion, like, and there were times where you say, hey, are you ready for this? Are you ready to have this discussion? And no, give me an hour or so, just to kind of get in the right frame of mind. Yeah.
And the second point was, we always set goals, budgets, and then we've always been, and I know this is not going to be for everybody, and everybody's going to be in that same situation. But we always weren't united, when it came, to setting those goals, the budgets, both personal and in business. And we've always been united on, acquisitions that we've done or investments we've made. Either you've allowed me to lead with that, or you said, hey, this is, I think the goals are aligned, or here's what I recommend, and then I would agree with that. We've always been on the same page.
Always on the same page.
Before we entered.
Yeah, and I think too, oftentimes I hear a lot of couples that say, on the personal side, I hear couples say, well, like, he spends too much money, or, she spends too much money, whatever the case may be. And the first question I always ask, well, do you actually sit down together and plan out your finances? Do you budget together? Because, you and I sit and we budget things, and if it's not in our budget, we're flat out, we're not purchasing that, right?
Correct.
And I think it's not the overspending that's the problem in some of these couples. It's the lack of communication between the couples that's the issue.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's 100%. And we've always said at the beginning of the year, we've set those goals and budgets and monitor them throughout the year. And I'll give you an example, like a couple of them in the last, year or so is we have some goals to pay off a lot more of our debt on our large portfolio of homes, and, get, either a lower loan, more equity in the homes, or more free and clear rentals. And so we have really been a push on that. And so, we wanted to buy like an extra car that we didn't need it. It was just like to have fun. And, I sat down, I'm like, well, like we're in the middle of a pandemic. Like there's stuff like it's probably not just a good, it's not a good time just to, and now can we afford it? Yes. And then we've done that with our house. Like we, we've taken several steps. I've wanted to, move into a new home and build a new home for us. And, we almost pulled the trigger, and then we didn't. And then, you love the home that we're in currently, but I want one more step or one more move up. And so we purchased a lot, and then we were going to build on that, and we delayed it. And I think for good reasons, because again, we wanted to be, not that we couldn't afford it or that we weren't ready. It was that we wanted to be, it was going to set us back from the equity we needed in our, in our retirement and our rental houses. And we wanted to be further ahead before we did that.
Right.
And I think that's smart. And we did the same thing with kids. We waited 7 years after getting married because we wanted to have our businesses in a solid state. And so I've been very fortunate and very grateful that I have a wife that understands that and gets that, and then has been supportive with me on that. I don't know if you have anything else to.
Yeah, no. And I think because we work together as well, so that's also. we had some battles, with business finances and taking it home with us, and that's a whole nother level. But we figured it out, and now luckily we have an awesome accounting director that kind of keeps both of us on budget. But budgets in the business also. I
get called out now.
Yeah,
on my own businesses, I get called out if I'm buying too much food or spending too much on the office. It's like I get called out, which is good.
It's no longer me calling you out. It's our director now, so I like that.
But the one thing I wanted to mention was because I do in the business and in personal take the lead with our finances. I think that comes with a lot of responsibility. And I think that should never be taken for granted, and it should never be abused. And so I think I've seen people either, maybe they're just, I've seen people in the past that have that same leadership or within their relationship or within their partnership, and they take too much risk with it, and then, get themselves in trouble, or spend too much and spend on, and it's never been me. It's not my personality to spend a lot of, I don't know. It's just me. And I know that's not for everybody, but I think what I'm trying to get at is just when your wife or your partner, trusts you to take care of the finance, I think you need to, level up with that and take ownership of that and know that they're putting a lot of faith in you
and trust.
And trust, and you better hold up to that end of it and hold up to that bargain and do what's right for your family and for your business. So, so I've always appreciated that you've always had that respect to me, and I've learned that, hey, you also want to be communicated back with and report back when I need help.
Exactly. I mean, because I think together, and I think that's kind of what defines us as a power couple. You're the visionary, I'm the driver. So I mean, together, we go at it hard. Yeah,
and and I think we make a good team on that. I think that's what people see. And so, when you're, and this is another hard topic, because I think as you enter, if you're already married or you're in partnership with somebody in business, you might not be able to do nothing about it because you can't change the circumstances. But one thing I wanted to say is, like, before you enter that agreement or before you enter, relationship or go into business with somebody or go into business with your spouse, like, really make sure that you have talked about everything, walked through the different scenarios, because it definitely going into business with your spouse is going to put even more stress on that marriage or on that relationship. If you're going into in business with your family or your friends, be prepared, because there's gonna be some hard times. There's gonna be some difficult scenarios. When everything's going great and money's coming in, it's like, hey, everybody's happy. Right. But it's when something bad happens, or a lawsuit, or a negative time, or COVID, or stuff that's totally out of your control, like, that's when it gets difficult, and that's when it puts a lot of stress and strain on that. Marriage is hard enough as it is without even being in business together. Getting into business together puts even the next level of stress on that marriage. So just be wise with who you choose, or make sure you communicate, and maybe it's not for everybody. Yeah.
And communication, I think, is a big part in all this, communication in business and in personal.
Yeah. And within us, Joni has always been the spouse that has either, she's never folded. She's never, like, when I came to her with, like, hey, like, we don't have enough money to pay the employees next week. It's not like you just, like, folded and went and cried in the room or nothing.
Poor me. Yeah, I mean, it's always been, well, let's figure it out. Like, we're here now, and let's figure out what we need to do next. I think when we moved to Texas was a big, aha moment for us, I guess. And we didn't have really not much in our bank account. We had no family here. It was just you and I. So we had nobody to lean on. We're at a point where, are we going to make it the next month or not? You know, and I wasn't going to just sit there and just watch us, be stressed out. So I went and got a job, and you didn't like that. I mean, it was, you didn't want to see me out there working, but I wasn't going to just sit there and do nothing about it. I wanted to help support.
Yeah, that's what I've always admired and respected in you, because you've always, and I'm very blessed and thankful for having you in my life, because it's not only a good spouse, but a good, you jump in and you do whatever it takes on all levels. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Personal. So let's get into we talked a little bit of business. Let's talk a little bit about our personal. So again, you've always let me lead that side of it too. And I think, again, that comes with a lot of responsibility and trustworthiness in our relationship. I've learned to communicate, again, more frequently, express the good, bad, and the ugly. Don't hide anything from you. Always come to you with issues, problems, and this isn't, I understand people are this, there's this, the podcast goes out to, a lot of people, a lot of different situations, second marriages, third marriages. I get all that. That's not going to be not for everybody. And I know people have been hurt in marriages, and especially financial and all that. So this might, but Joni and I,
we understand it's not easy. I mean, none of this is easy, but if you can figure this out, then you can have a bulletproof marriage, business, all of the above.
And I think we've always treated our finances as one, just like we treat our relationship as one. We've always, what's yours is mine, mine is yours, whatever, vice versa.
What's yours is mine.
Yeah, usually everything goes that way, but no, in all seriousness, it's, it all goes to the same bank account. Right. It all comes out of the same bank account. Everything's together, our investments, everything's together. You own 50% of everything we have. And I get that there's different scenarios for every relationship. We're just telling you how we operate. And, we when we really, took a commitment when we got married that it's still death do us part. And so like, we're committed and we'll do everything we can to save that and strengthen that. So, debt, we've always minimized debt as much as possible. Yeah. Obviously being real estate, there's, we take on debt, to purchase properties and we feel that's good debt because it's backed by a performing asset that pays for it. But we've always, like we said, we've limited our purchases or delayed some purchases that, yes, we're equipped to do.
Yeah, they're not necessary now. Yeah. Cars, boats, all those things that, it would be nice to have, but if you don't need them, don't buy them. And
so we've done that to pay down the debts, on all our rentals and commercial properties. And that's just been a goal for us. And so, we want to be able or have the opportunity to maybe retire sooner.
Right.
And so to do that, we've delayed some of those, have delayed gratification.
Yeah. And you should all have goals to, retire. And I mean, that's kind of one of our big initiatives right now. We're going to try to minimize our spending because we want to retire at a certain age.
Correct. And we've always lived within our means. So, yes, we drive nice vehicles. We live in a nice house, but we've always, that's grown as our income has grown, and we've always lived within our budgets and what we set. We don't live lavishly, and this goes for both sides. So we both respect each other. We respect the budgets that we set at the beginning of the year, and we don't spend out of those. We never make big expenditures without talking to each other. Yeah. So like we're both on the same page. If we're going to buy a car, we're both on the same page on a house or diamonds or clothes or, big expenditures. We pretty much, communicate it and talk it out. So, and then again, like I said, we just never, we've always just been one, personally. So, and kept everything as one. Yeah. So. Did you have anything else?
No, I mean, I think the key to all this is communication, right?
Absolutely. And I think you'll see throughout our podcasts and episodes is that, Joni and I definitely aren't perfect, but we communicate everything and share everything together. And that's what makes it work, is just that openness and willing to share. So I think it's your spouse. That's the person you should be closest to outside your, whatever spiritual relationship you have. I mean, that she's it.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed that. We hope you got something out of it. We would love to get some feedback. Again, we're getting more personal with you and sharing how we run our finances within our companies a little bit and things we've learned. So please like and share this. We'd love to reach out to more people and hopefully bring more value. So have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
See ya, everyone.
You've been listening to Inside the Wolf's Den, an entrepreneurial journey with Shawn and Joni Wolfswinkle. Tons of entrepreneurial podcasts are out there. Talking. But Joni and Shawn are living it every single day. Their portfolio now includes many franchises and medium-sized businesses. We talk about the trials and motivators of successfully running a business. Join us again soon for another podcast. But until then, reach out on the website at InsideTheWolfsDen.com, on Facebook at Inside the Wolf's Den, on Instagram at Inside the Wolf Den. We'll see you again soon. This is Inside the Wolf's Den. We'll see you next time.